Alright, today we are back. Last episode we talked about Vive la France with the French Revolution, with, Napoleon, all that jazz. Today we're talking about the fall of apartheid, which happened in the 1940s in South Africa. And to start us off, we are going to go back to when the Dutch had invaded Africa in the scramble for Africa in the 1800s. And since Africa had gold and riches and spices, and that's all I can name right now. They had all this luxurious things, and everyone else wanted it. And so over the times of Dutch, taking over the country, not the country, but parts of it, their languages merged together, and one language that is still used today is Afrikaans, and they also split the place into countries, dividing it in so many ways that it was confusing to the people who had originally lived there. They were just like, "Yo, dude, hello?" Like, what's going on? And that's kind of how we're starting this off. And first off, we're going to talk about one of the ways that apartheid was handled in South Africa at the time. They had what they called the pencil test. As in, if you stuck a pencil into your hair and it stayed put, you were black. And if the pencil fell out of your hair, you were white. And that makes completely no sense. Because say you or someone, they would classify you as that with the pencil test. Like, it didn't matter what your skin color was. Like, you could be white and the pencil stay in your hair. They're like, okay, now you're black. Or you could be black and the pencil falls out of your hair. Now you're white. You see how that doesn't make sense? Like, what if your hair was matted, or like it just had different textures and stuff like that, or like it was straightened or curled or anything along the lines of it being not the natural hair? Makes completely zero sense. Saying if the pencil sticks, you're black, or if the pencil falls out, you're white. If that happened nowadays, that would not go well. But that was one of the ways. I could not find from the research that I had if it was during the 1800s and was also during the 1940s and 60s when apartheid was falling apart. But let's start with, apartheid falling apart in the 1940s. So each people that lived there, they were divided into four groups: black, white, colored, which were mixed, and Indian. With the mixed or colored, as they put it, the colored were basically people who were mixed race. Like, say you had a white mom and a black dad, or a black mom and a white dad, then you were mixed, according to them, back in those days. And that's just one way they classified it. And the majority of the population at the time was roughly 90 or maybe 80% black. And they had a white government. So it was not good at all. And it was, not healthy. Obviously not healthy, but I think you get what I'm saying. But, yeah. And because of all this racism happening, one person who created and had a big effect was Nelson Mandela. He was the leader of the ANC, or the African National Congress, who fought against apartheid. And one day in the 70s, there was a massacre where 600 people died at a peaceful protest. And he got sent to jail for 27 years because he fought against apartheid. Because he fought against it, they put him in jail. And like Gandhi, him and Mandela, they have similarities. They were both rich and went to school. Because if you were rich back then, you could go to school. But if you were poor, if you were born in a poor house, you weren't able to attend school unless your parents, had the money. And when you went to school, you learned about what was going on. And since Nelson, he had that knowledge, he used it against them. Gandhi did the same. And when he, like, after his 27 years in jail ended, he ran for president, president the in South Africa, and he got elected. He won. He became the first black president in South Africa for this time, and it was just amazing. He did so many great things, and he used peace and took down apartheid from the 60s and the 40s, and when he was alive. And on December 5th in 2013, he was shot against someone who was like, I don't like you because of what you stand for, kind of thing. And they killed him because they didn't agree with him. That happened with a lot of people, you would notice. Like, people who are just fighting, like, let's make everyone good. And they're like, go away, you're gonna die now. Like, bang, bang, boom, you're dead because I don't like what you're saying. Which is kind of dumb, but let's not talk about that. So, since the effect of apartheid, and it ended so fairly recently, I know, like, the 60s and 90s, not 60s, but yeah, the 60s doesn't seem recent, but the effects have still lasted to this day. They're still trying to fix that and build back up. And like we talked with France, they were struggling so much. When these things happen, they struggle so much to get back on their feet. But I hope that in time, things go calmer. So, yeah, that's kind of it for today. See you the next time I ever do one of these. Adios. Well, the goodbye sounded weird. Anyway, bye.